Welcome to the fourth module of this course. Today we will discuss paradigms and perspectives in environmental sociology. To continue our discussion on emergence of environmental sociology as a field of inquiry, we will discuss today an important theme, that is paradigms and perspectives in environmental sociology. Dear students, we all know that contemporary environmental problems have significantly challenged the basic edifice of the present industrial society. Also, it has challenged the core values of the discipline of sociology. It is in this context that today we will discuss the paradigms that have emerged after the emergence of environmental sociology. Sociology, which emerged in the aftermath of Industrial Revolution and French Revolution, developed a paradigm which discouraged research on environmental issues. Sociology as a discipline did not recognize the environmental limits while discussing about social progress, social growth and social evolution. And these paradigms in sociology, we need to understand that they were significantly influenced by Western society or the core values of the Western society. So, therefore, to understand the paradigms of sociology or to understand the core values of sociology, we need to understand the Western society in which sociology dominated. So, in this module, paradigms and perspectives in environmental sociology, we will basically discuss the human exceptionalism paradigm of classical sociology, and again we will discuss that how this paradigm in classical sociology became irrelevant to discuss the nature society interactions, and in the process we will discuss emergence of new ecological paradigm which became the core values, which became the core paradigms of environmental sociology. And in the process we will also make a distinction between the human exemptionalism paradigm of classical sociology and new ecological paradigm of environmental sociology. The major learning objective of today's class is to discuss the emerging perspectives of new ecological paradigm and to contrast it with that of dominant Western worldview and the human exemptionalism paradigm of classical sociology. The learning outcome is to gain a wider perspective to the emerging paradigms that define the core values of the field of environmental sociology. So, therefore, the key themes of today's class are the following. We will basically discuss four topics or four themes in today's class: the dominant Western worldview, second, the human exceptionalism paradigm or human exemptionalism paradigm. We will make a distinction between these two, and then third, the new ecological paradigm, and finally, we will make a distinction between or we will make a difference between the human exemptionalism paradigm and the new ecological paradigm. So, let us begin with the first topic of today's class, that is dominant Western worldview. To understand the disciplinary challenges for which sociology could not engage into understanding the nature society interaction, we need to understand the core values of the Western society where sociology dominated as a discipline. The core values of Western society strongly influenced the emergence of sociology. The Western society culture has a strong anthropocentric tradition. This tradition in Western society viewed humans as separate from the nature, and not only separate from the nature, are also superior to other species in the nature. Humans are above others in the nature. With the scientific developments, with the scientific development and technological knowledge, this anthropocentric tendency within the Western society developed into the modern arrogance. Nature was considered as something which is to be put to use for human benefits. So, modern Western society viewed humans as superiors and viewed nature as something which has to be used to derive certain benefits for the human beings. And with the European expansion to the New World, with the European expansion to the Northern America, things even changed in a different manner. With the European expansion to the brave new world, or with the discovery of America, that had profound cultural impact on Western society. When Columbus said to discover America, an average European citizen had an access to 24 acres of land, and with American invasion or with American expansion, the land use pattern changed from 24 acres per European to 120 acres per European. So, this expansion of Europe to the Northern America widened the opportunities for endless progress, widened the opportunities for endless growth. So, the optimistic belief that progress can be possible developed in an age of exuberance. So, with access to wider land, with access to wider resources, with access to wider natural resources, there was a greater belief in Western society that opportunities are unlimited. And to add that, the industrial revolution, modern technology, access to vast resources which are previously inaccessible, that all resulted in development of a kind of core values in Western society that has a different kind of attitude towards the nature. These core values, these emerging core values of the Western society in the post-industrial revolution era viewed nature as a source of raw material, viewed nature as something which has to be put to use to derive certain benefits for human beings. And as trade and cultural diffusion expanded, and as colonialism expanded, as trade and commerce expanded, this vision of the Western world, this vision of the European world also travelled to other part of the world, as a result of which the Western world's or the industrial world's technoculture became expanded to other parts of the world. So, this technoculture of the Western world or this technoculture of the Western industrialized world has been defined differently by different scholars. It has been defined as a paradigm that transcends national identities and political ideologies. The entire Europe, the Northern America or the Western industrialized world came to be characterized within one dominant ideology, came to be characterized with a one dominant paradigm that has a specific view towards the nature. A dominant social paradigm emerged which is shared by the Western industrial nations. Sometimes this paradigm is defined as industrial era paradigm, or what Dunlap and Catton say as the dominant Western worldview. We need to understand that how this dominant Western worldview shaped the human values. This dominant Western worldview resulted in changes in where and how people lived. With a massive shift towards industrialism, with a massive shift towards urbanization from agriculture, this created a belief that modern societies or industrial societies, urban societies are far away, are moved away from nature, and they are not subject to the vulnerabilities of the biophysical environment. So, this structural reorganization of the Western society from that of an agrarian mode of production, from that of an agrarian social structure to that of an industrial social structure, that resulted in emergence of a kind of belief that humans are not subject to the vulnerabilities of the biophysical environment. Humans are away from nature, and therefore, they are not subjected to problems of nature. Dunlap and Catton in their work summarize the fundamental beliefs of the dominant Western worldview into these 4 points. They say that the dominant Western worldview believes that people are fundamentally different from all other creatures on the earth over which they have domination. So, this dominant Western worldview perpetuated a kind of ideology which believed that people are fundamentally different from others, and people or human society is far away, or human society is moved away from nature, and nature is a kind of entity which has to be controlled to aid benefits to the human society. Second, dominant Western worldview believed that people are masters of their destiny. People are masters of their destiny, they can choose their goals and learn to do whatever is necessary to achieve them. So, this worldview, the dominant Western worldview, perpetuated the ideology that people are the masters of their own destiny, and they can control the nature to make something happen, or they can control the nature to ensure that their goals are achieved, their goals. And thirdly, dominant Western worldview also believed that the world is vast. The world is vast, and thus it provides unlimited opportunities for the humans, especially with expansion of the colonial power, with expansion of the European power to rest of the world, and with access of those resources which are previously inaccessible. Dominant Western worldview perpetuated an ideology that the resources are unlimited, that the world is vast, and therefore opportunities are unlimited, and this provides an unlimited opportunity for the human beings for their own progress and development. Fourth, dominant Western worldview also believed that the history of humanity is one of history of progress. For every problem there is a solution, and thus progress should never cease. Most importantly, this dominant Western worldview perpetuated the ideology that the problems of humanity can be solved with technology. So, with technological advancement, with modern technology, Western societies developed and kind of idea, developed kind of worldview that problems of humanity can be solved with science and technology, and therefore, there is no limit to the progress, there is no limit to human growth, and if any limit exists, those limits can be extended, those limits can be solved with science and technology. So, this kind of ideology in Western society, this kind of views in Western society, which believe that human progress is never ending, which believe that human opportunities are unlimited, that created a kind of paradigm in sociology which discouraged the discipline to look into the nature society interaction. Even though sociology emerged in the time of industrial revolution, where nature played an important role in human progress, nature played an important role in modernization, but sociology developed its understanding outside the nature society interaction, and that led to emergence of a paradigm in sociology which Dunlap and Catton term as human exemptionalism paradigm.